Welcome to my next project, the gardener. The way I think about garden art is it's kind of got to be practical and something you might even expect to see there that's even got a purpose. So in this particular garden of mine, which is quite big and full of bougainvillea, or going to be full of bougainvillea, which is really spiky, I don't want to be in here trying to weed around it all the time. So what I want to do is grow the bougainvillea so it becomes quite overgrown as far as the garden goes. But in the middle of it, you probably expect to see someone clipping the bushes, keeping it a bit tidy and clipping all the spiky bits off. So my next project in this garden here is going to be called the gardener, a life-size concrete statue of me clipping the bougainvillea. When I made this garden, I made it too short here, so when I mow, I have a piece left that I've got to use the whippersnipper on all the time. Now, when I get old, I want to mow the whole yard just with a ride-on mower and a glass of wine. I don't want to have to get the whippersnipper out. So I'm going to fix this garden first, move the wall out, which will give me a much deeper garden across here, which will give me room for some garden art here. The wall will be here and more bougainvillea here for a backdrop. So, like all my little ideas, they start out really good in my head and they end up with something else completely different. So we'll get this one underway and see what happens. So what I'm doing here is I'm digging a trench and I'm going to line it and concrete it, and this will be the mowing strip on the outside. This will be the garden, and what I've got is these clicker bricks, or they're used for making brick walls, but hell, they're second hand and I got them really cheap, so I'm going to use them a bit differently. I'm going to embed these in the concrete. So this smooth edges on the outside, there's a bit of concrete left here where the mower edge will go, and this will sit in this gutter in the concrete like that. Keep the dirt in this side, keep the mower on that side, make it much easier to look after around this particular garden. So here we are, day 2. Shouldn't have done this project in the wet season. Might take a bit longer than I thought. Okay, got my trench dug out here. Got all the second-hand bricks that I found and a few extras. They're over here. They're all going to be water blasted off so they stay in the concrete. Here's my trench. I'm lining each side of the trench with 3-ply because it's nice and bendable, and what gives you is a nice straight edge around here. So now the garden wall is in. Crazy dog's got the zoomies. So now our garden wall's in. We've created the context for which this piece of garden art is going to go in, which is the wideness of this garden in the bougainvilleas. Next thing we're going to do is probably the most important thing, is the base to start the statue and to start to build him up. Best way I can explain this, found this little Buddha guy, right? So because I'm building this statue in life size, it's going to be about, I'm 183 something centimeters, what's that, about 5'10", and when it's full of concrete, it's going to weigh over 120 kilos. What's that, 260 pound or something? You don't want the thing to fall over because I ain't getting it back up again. So what I want to do is I want to create a big base for him, and then when I fill the garden up, the guy will be standing, the gardener will be standing on the soil, but under it is the whole iceberg scenario. You can't see it because it's under the ground, but it's wide enough to hold this whole structure up. The second thing I'm going to do is, with this piece of 12mm Rio, is I'm going to put 2 of these pieces of Rio, starts off in the bottom, and I'll just bend it like a JL shape, and then bring it up through the concrete to be about my height. So I'll have 2 of these, which will start off being his 2 legs and then the torso, but more importantly, I can use it a bit like scaffolding. As I build him up, I can put some clamps on the top here and hold the pants up while they dry, because I don't want you to underestimate what a pair of jeans that have soaked in concrete weigh. They are heavy. So you can clamp it and I can hold it up, dry, fill them, hold the torso up, dry, fill them, hold the arms up. The other thing about building life size, and why I like doing it that way, is because I just use my old clothes. So I get all the portions right. The arms will be about the right length, the legs will be about the right length compared to the torso. So I don't have to go through all that measurement. I just have to fill my old clothes up with concrete. So it's a good way to build it. It's either life size for me or nothing else, because I'm not a sculptor in any way. I'm just filling clothes up with concrete and wire. Anyway, so I'm going to concrete this base in, and that should finish part 1 of this project with these rods sticking up, and it'll take a few days to dry. So let's do that one. Okay, so I've dug my footing hole here. It's about 30 centimeters deep. It's about a foot. The concrete's going to come up to here. Remember our little guy? The dirt will be up to here, so whatever's in here will be underground. I got my Rio bent up here to make my structure, and I've got a bit of old Rio here, reinforcement to go in here. So it's going to be a really solid base for our statue to build up here. Don't worry too much about bending steel. All you can do is stick it in a gap. I've got these stirrups. Here on the bottom of this frame, and they're about that far apart. Stick your steel in, bend it. It's really easy to do. So there you go, garden bed's finished, extended, the base is in, the Rio's up. Here's my trusty mate, probably in need of some friends, Mr. Ladder, and a couple of clamps. The Rio's in. I'll give this a couple of days to dry, and then we can start the construction of the man. So this is phase 1, we're ready to go. If you like where this is going, give us a like. And if you want to see stage 2 and the big reveal, why don't you subscribe to my channel, share it with a few friends. This looks like it could be fun, making a mini me. Well, me again, I guess. Double me. You'll think you're best watching this. See you double vision. Cheers.